and welcome everybody. And of course, Chattanooga Ed, thank you for being here with me as usual. Awesome to see you, buddy.
It's always great to hang out with you, buddy.
Absolutely.
I'll be right back.
I'm going to run through here and say some hellos real quick. We have got Posiwi, who also became the newest member. Welcome to the Fish Room Fever family. The team, I appreciate that, Posiwi. You picked a good day to do it as well. Of course, we've got lots of content that you can go back and look at that's already been uploaded. You get to use those awesome emojis in the chat as well as on comments. But I've got a members-only video. It's about 16 minutes long. It's a tour of a couple dozen tanks just for the members. It is uploaded. I'm waiting on the high definition to finish. Yeah, it's not finished just yet. Once the high definition version is uploaded fully and ready to go, I will release that for the members. So you picked the perfect time to do that, and I appreciate it very, very much. 44 Matt Guy, Fishing More, Sarah Lynn Snow, Pew Fish Zone, what's going on? Roll through here. Of course, we got Chattanooga Ed in the chat hanging out talking beforehand as well. Rico Stan, what's going on, buddy? John Cox, appreciate you being here. Chad Krotz, Furloughs Aquatics. I know you're going to be lurking and on the phone. Appreciate the lurk. Roll on down here. Gina French, how's it going? I know I saw Sand Creek Aquatics too. There's Amy. How are you? Rolling. Having some good conversation before we started. Deb Hall D, hello. Good to see you in here. Appreciate you swinging through. Tim Carter, what is up? Shy Gal, Mrs. Fever, hanging out. Not joining us tonight, but she will be lurking in the chat. Mr. Fish, Sir Brad, appreciate you. I know I missed somebody. We're just going to keep rolling. Cichlids 23, Not Nola Jane, Fish Rich, how are you? Mike's Aquatics and Things. I remembered not to call you Grumpy Mike that time. It's $1 super chat, fertilizing the stream. Thank you, buddy. Real quick, I'm going to say I hope you all are okay with this camera. My old one started to act up, so I got this new one. I don't really care for it. I was just like, oh, we'll upgrade to autofocus, and it's just not doing the job I like. So we'll work with it for now, but we'll come up with something better. Dank Tanks, yo, how's it going? Roll on through here. I think I caught everybody. I probably missed somebody. If I did, I'm sorry. Appreciate you all being here. We have got T-Bone. I missed T-Bone's Fishies. Sorry about that. Good day, T-Bone. I'm kidding. With Daniken Aquatics. So we've got an interesting topic that I want to talk about here in just a minute. I do want to preface that with saying this is not me looking at things as a fish keeper going, oh, I wish I didn't keep fish, because this is more a list of things that I have heard people that don't keep fish say as their reason to get into the hobby. Somebody says, oh, I think I should get some fish because blank. And you just kind of, as a fish keeper, you shake your head and go, please don't buy fish because of that. Smile and be happy, says Candy sent me from KG Tropicals. I appreciate the roll in from KG because Beth, what's up? Justin Powers, hello. So we're going to get into that. I think it's going to be fun. And Sarah Lynn Snow was guessing at some of those things. She did a good job on a couple of them. There are some things on here that you may not even realize that run through people's heads in terms of why they should get fish. Some of them are a little crazy. We'll get into that shortly. Lefty3213A dropping the $2 Red Arrow super sticker saying he is here. Lefty, how are you, buddy? I appreciate you swinging through. I know a lot of times you have to get to bed, so it's always a pleasure to see you. But before we get to that, like I said, I do have a members-only video coming out for you all. I know I haven't put anything out just for the members, so I've seen a couple of you all, Tiffany, rolling in after I said that. Wanted to make sure that you were aware. That way you could check that out later on tonight. And we've got an awesome topic on Ed's stream after this. It is going to be all about Corydoras, so I think that'll be a blast. Ed, do you have anything you wanted to dive into before we start the topic? We've got some events I think you wanted to discuss, right?
Yep. Well, I love Cory, so that's why we're going to go Cory's. I mean, guppies have always been number one in my life, but Cory's have been kind of a below two. It's been kind of crazy. But one of the reasons why I picked Corydoras is because we're about to start the big catfish, not the big catfish deal. That's probably a real event that happens in Washington, D.C., I think. We're going to Catfish Christmas.
Catfish Christmas.
Start. Yes. I think they have the big fish deal in Washington, D.C. every other year. Hopefully they didn't have it this year because of it was just the off year. I don't know. I didn't even look. But nevertheless, the big fish, or the big catfish, no, wait, what am I saying?
Catfish Christmas.
Catfish Christmas is basically like Pasilia month and Anabantoid August, where you guys get to send any of your fish photos, videos, or art to Lefty's going to pop it, or maybe he already. Oh, Lefty already popped it, I think.
Yep.
The Fish Fan Community event page.
There we go.
On Facebook. And there might be actually an email he prefers. I don't know. But what we do is we combine, or we look at all the entries the whole time. Well, not the whole time, at the very end. And we'll decide from there. But this time you have, I think, like 6 or 7 weeks almost to get them in. We're really being generous. Also, we're going catfish. Any type of catfish. So it's not just Corey's, even though you guys know I like Corey, so you might get a point there. But this guy here likes red-tailed catfish, so you might get a point there. So just put any good-looking fish you got, catfish, in your photos, art, or videos. Videos, we've requested that they are at least 1 minute long, and is it no longer than 3, James?
That's generally what we go with. It's no longer than 3 minutes. And we do usually deduct points if it is under or over those guidelines.
Yeah, because like sometimes we'll just get a 15-seconder. And even though it's really cool, it's just not fair to the people that put a minute and a half in versus, done. So that's where we're going with the videos. If you want to do something quick, just take one picture. But we aren't. I don't know if we know any of. Well, we know the categories, but we don't know about sponsors or anything like that yet. We'll be announcing it once the season actually starts, and I believe it starts. Is it Thanksgiving weekend?
I've got it up on the screen there. Catfishmas will start November 16th and run until December 31st.
Very cool. So, yep, and I'm pretty sure that we got. Lisa from KG Tropics is going to be our super special guest judge again. She was awesome. With all the anabantoids. So she's going to come over, and we also have Guppy Guru in the group, the Zen Ginger, Lefty, and I imagine the rebranded Rack with Pond's Life. Pond Life.
Yep,
Pond?
He's got Pond Life, and then he's also got Bird Garden. He's in the chat with the Bird Garden on there. Says, Fisherman Fever, I got my frog bit today. Generous portions. Thank you very much. Rack, Bird Garden, thank you for the order. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're happy with it. And I hope things are going well with your channel. I think it's awesome what you're doing with that 24/7 live stream of the bird feeder. I encourage people to check that out.
I need to get my dad hooked up on that channel. It'd probably be good for him because he's been pretty stressed out the last few days.
Absolutely.
And he was saying that. I want to say we are a politic-free stream, so we're not going to talk about that whatsoever. But Sandy Doherty has a super funny, is it a meme on Facebook, where it's a Canadian person looking out the window eating chips, saying, it makes me laugh every time. It's watching our neighbors try to figure it out or something like that.
Absolutely.
It is so funny.
Yeah. And like you said, we're going to keep it politic free. I don't care what side you're on. We can all agree it's interesting right now, and that's as far as we'll dive into it. But I think that pretty much covers everything in terms of the Catfishmas event that we're going to do. Without further ado, I'm going to dive right into these. I will be coming back to the chat once I get through them, but I kind of want to get them knocked out, and then we can gladly discuss all these things, and I'll scroll back up. Of course, if you have something that you absolutely want me to see, no need to super chat it. Just type @FishRoomFever. It'll highlight for me, and then I can find it a lot easier. So I'm going to lock my chat in right there. Now, keep in mind, again, these are 10 reasons you probably shouldn't start keeping fish. You probably shouldn't get into the hobby. These are not things that, well, I'm in the hobby and I don't like it because of this. So these are just some crazy reasons that I've heard people say, or I've seen people do these things, and we're going to address some of those. Most of this hopefully doesn't apply to any of you all, but if for some reason you're in here and you're thinking about getting into fish, and this is one of your reasons, I want you to reconsider getting fish and kind of think about, do I really want these animals? Number 10 is one that a lot of people probably haven't thought about, but especially with the situation that we're in right now, the health situation, A lot of people are at home. A lot more people are on social media. You've got crazy things like TikTok going on. You've got a lot of people that are trying to get their little 15 seconds of fame. I won't say 15, or 15 seconds of fame. And I have seen some of this, unfortunately. And number 10 is going to be, well, I have a YouTube channel or another platform, and it's not doing well. I bet I could get more members if I had some fish. Please don't do that. We want people to get into the hobby. We want to expand the hobby. You know, everybody's welcome, but don't do it just to try and up your clicks. It's a shame that people do that, but I've seen it done, and I would just encourage you, if you're thinking of doing it for that reason, please don't. You know, again, we love having people join the hobby, but we want it to be for the right reason. So that's going to be my number 10. Again, that one's a little bit out there, and a lot of people may not even be aware that some people are doing that, but I've seen it before. Now, I do want to encourage anybody that's in the hobby that's considering, hey, I've got these tanks, I'd like to share them, maybe I should start a channel. I encourage you to do that. And I've always encouraged people to start up a channel, or, you know, whatever platform you want to be on. If you've got some fish you want to share with us, or maybe you're going through the learning processes and you've got good intentions, by all means, you know, the more the merrier. So let me make sure I get that clear, because we got awesome people. Case in point, you know, Furlough's Aquatics just started up not long ago. You know, and I'm really glad he did. He's got some awesome stuff going on. We've got a lot of good people in here. I just happened to pick Eric because I talked to him a good bit. So number 9 is another one that's kind of interesting, and I've seen people do this, but number 9 is, well, I'll never run out of options on what I can have. I can just keep piling them on there. If you've got a somewhat addictive personality, fish keeping may not be for you. It's not something to just quote unquote collect. You know, like maybe you get into sports cards or Pokemon cards or stamps or something like that. It's not so much a collector hobby. And then again, these are all, if you're new to the hobby, you don't know how to take care of fish necessarily. There are a lot of us in the hobby that have collectoritis, but we're all well aware of how to take care of the fish, what the fish need, you know, proper tank maintenance setup and all of those things. I definitely have seen people that dive in, and the next thing they've got 20 tanks because they want, but they haven't even set one tank up right. And then things start dying in mass here and there and everywhere. So I like to, again, make sure you think about what you're getting into and know why you're getting into it. So number 8, and again, is fish keepers, people that are, you know, we love our fish, we know how to take care of our fish, or even we're new and we're trying to learn how to take care of our fish. I'm sure some of us have probably seen this or heard friends talk about this. And the number 8 person is, I've had bad luck with other animals. Who cares if a fish dies? I'll try those. Please no, fish are not expendable. And I see this a lot. People just see them as kind of a throwaway pet. So they get into the hobby and they think, well, you know, I'm really not good at keeping birds or even dogs or cats, or it's just not working out for me. I'll just get some fish, and if they die, oh well, I can flush them down the toilet and it doesn't matter, versus having to, you know, bury a different type of animal or properly dispose of it. Number 7 is something that I know a lot of us are guilty of as fish keepers, and that has to do with impulse. But if you don't have a tank, you're in the store and you go, well, I was in the pet store and I saw these fish and I just had to have them. That's one of those that I certainly hope that you do research after the fact now that you've got those fish. But it's definitely one we want to try and prevent people from just going, ooh, shiny syndrome, I get. You know, kind of take some time, research the hobby, research the nitrogen cycle, tank sizes, compatibility, general guidelines like that, before you just go, ooh, I got shiny syndrome there, your impulse buys. Number 6, and I know that we've all seen people do this, is my kids won't hush about a pet, so I'm going to give them fish so they'll leave me alone. And I am a very firm believer in getting the next generation into the hobby, you know, carrying that hobby onward to the next generation. But that's one of those things that if your children aren't responsible, it's not a good idea to just get them a fish tank so that they can have a pet. You don't have to worry about it and they get off your back. It's great when you were a fish keeper and you want to bring your children into the hobby, you know, they learn some of the processes, how to properly take care of fish. Then you help them set up their own tank and help them take care of that tank. That is always a wonderful experience, and I highly recommend it for anybody who's got children. But please don't make the fish well, we're not getting you a dog, so we're going to get you a fish tank. It's your problem, deal with it. That happens a lot, unfortunately. So try and avoid that one. Now we're going to get into some of the more common things that a lot of us hear about or see or know somebody that's done it. Number 5 is, I bet I can make a ton of money selling fish. There are a lot of people in here that breed fish. And anybody in here that breeds fish can tell you, if it was a get-rich-quick scheme, a lot more people would have caught on to it by now. Even if you can make some money breeding fish, generally, like for myself and as for most of us, you're just covering some of the expense to, you know, having your fish, having the hobby. And there are great things to do once you're in the hobby, like breeding for profit tanks. You know, you set up, like Corey's talked about, different, you know, things, but you can set up your endlers and your plecos, and you've got your plants in there and your cherry shrimp, and you've got this nice little breeding for profit tank, and whatever way you want to go with it. But getting into the hobby just because you think it's going to be a money wheel is probably not going to work out for you. Not unless you've figured out that secret method to doing something that nobody else has. So, you know, once again, if people are already in the hobby and we go, I want to breed guppies, you know, Ed breeds guppies, I breed guppies. It's hard not to breed guppies if you have guppies. They're just going to do their thing, kind of like plecos. That can help offset some of the hobby expenses, but actually making money on it, not easy. Making a lot of money on it, about impossible. It's just not, unless you're getting into a fish farm. And even then, I wouldn't encourage somebody that's never had fish to just go buy a fish farm, you know? So just keep that in mind if you're sitting there thinking, I'm out of work right now. I've got all this time. I could make a killing breeding some fish. And you're probably not going to be able to make a killing doing that. You might at some point start breaking even and covering expenses, but it's not the get-rich-quick scheme. Number 4, and this is almost like FOMO, the fear of missing out, is all my friends have tanks. I want to get in on the action. I want to be part of the cool kid club, if you will. So people get a fish tank just so they can talk about fish with, you know, their friends, or just so that they can be a part of something, even though they may not necessarily care about the fish. They just want to be able to say, yeah, I've got that too. You know, it's kind of like getting that certain car brand. Maybe you've got a bunch of friends that all have a certain type of car, or that certain brand of appliance, and some of them, oh, well, I have the latest line of this. Oh, so do I. You know, no, please don't do that. Just please. And I'm sure we've got a lot of comments. It keeps jumping on me, and I keep scrolling back up.
I've been terribly guilty of helping that one.
Right.
When I used to have like barbecues for my work to come, because I was like, they'd vote for me to be their shop steward. So every year or every 3 years, I'd have a big barbecue, and they would see my giant tanks and stuff. And there was always a couple of them that would buy tanks, and then they didn't ask for help or anything. But then a year later, they would say, hey, you want my tank? You know, because they saw something cool, so they just went and just did it.
Yeah, they wanted to be a part of that club, that group, that niche.
I wish they would have let me know, because then I could have helped them.
Absolutely. And hello, Elijah the Wolf said, who else is here for KG Tropicals? Again, I really do appreciate the send over. Candy, thank you for dropping the link. And John and Lisa, thank you very, very much. Not all the way in through the comments, but I rolled up and saw that one with the laughy face and just wanted to say hello. All right. Number 3, and this is one that happens even more often, is, well, I'm not home enough to take care of a cat or dog, so I'll just get fish. You know, fish require regular attention. Now, once again, if you're in the hobby, that's not to say you can't set up a fish tank to where you can be gone. You know, say for work, maybe you've got to travel. If you know what you're doing, yes, you can set up a tank to where it's relatively low maintenance and you don't need to tend to those fish constantly, or, you know, or check on them every day, every other day. But if you're new to the hobby, which is what we're talking about. You're not in the hobby at this point, and you go, well, I'm going to be out of town, 5 days out of the week. I don't want to have to put a cat or a dog through that. I'll just set up a fish tank. Probably not a good idea, And if you're experienced, you could get away with it, but not something that's good for people thinking about getting into the hobby. Number 2 is another one, and that person would be you can't afford a dog or a cat, but fish are cheap. It is not a cheap hobby, and I've heard people say this, well, I can't really afford to get, shots for a dog or shots for a cat. I'm going to get fish. Well, fish medication is not cheap. And unlike scheduled shots for a cat or dog, you never know when you might need it. So while I am a huge believer in DIY projects, making things cheap and easy, you can make your own $15 sump versus spending $300 on one. I'm a huge proponent of that. And that's part of the reason why I'm on here, is to help people with that aspect. If your budget margin is running really thin, I would say just skip on the fish for right now. You can get some deals and you can set it up cheap. But I have people that look and go, oh, there's, Tetris for $2.99. I can just get some of those and throw them in a little tank, and I never have to spend any. You still have to spend money, or need water conditioners and things of that nature. You need to be able to get medications. So while I'm a fan of DIY projects and making the hobby cheaper, it's not a cheap hobby. You can definitely bring down the cost in a lot of ways, dollar per gallon and things like that. But you need to make sure that you do have some funding to be able to take care of problems when they arise. And then the number 1, the worst reason to get into fish tanks and to get into the hobby is, I'm too lazy to clean a litter box or walk my dog, so I'll just get a fish tank. The pleco can clean up the poop. If you feel that it's too much work to clean a litter box or walk a dog, I can promise you probably shouldn't get fish, because there is work involved. Once again, as people that are in the hobby, or even people that are learning, we can learn how to set up a tank to where it's very low maintenance. We can minimize the maintenance, but it still falls on you to take care of that tank. And I posted a video, and I'm not shaming this guy. We had a good conversation in the comments, but I posted a video on TikTok of the plecos eating green beans. And the very first comment on there was, well, duh, they eat the poop out of the tank. Why wouldn't they eat green beans? And I'm like, no, that is unfortunately a myth that has been spread through the hobby a lot of times by big box pet stores. I've heard employees sell common plecos. People say, well, how do I get the tank clean? And they say, well, buy 2 of these common plecos. That's literally happened. It is not a maintenance-free hobby. It is not a lazy hobby. It can definitely be set up for minimal maintenance, but if scooping out a litter box is too much for you, you probably don't want to have to gravel back a fish tank. So those are my 10 crazy things I've seen and heard that were all reasons that I shook my head and I went, please don't get into the hobby because of that. I want you to enjoy fish because they're awesome to have. Maybe you want to learn about them, things like that. And I'm all about teaching people, but those are just some bad reasons to start keeping fish. All right, I'm going to jump in the chat now. As far up as I can go, we got the Lefty3213A super sticker again. Thank you for that. Rolling on through here. Zen, thank you for posting the website. I'm going to grab the highlighted comments as I go through here. Edgar Reyes, hello, good to see you. Zen dropping another link. Rolling and rolling. And again, if I scroll over something, because I know I'm way behind, I'm looking at 1036 now. I'm just hitting highlighted stuff. So once I get to the bottom here in just a second, there was Bird Garden. I got the Bird Garden comment. Good. If you put at Fish Room Fever, it will highlight for me. Zen posted links again. Thank you. Sandy Doughty says, Fish Room Fever got a package from you yesterday. Thank you. Love it. I'm glad that got through customs and made it to you, Sandy. Happy to hear it, and I hope you enjoy it. Roll back up there. I see some super chats. I'm about to get to those. A huge thank you to you all. All right. So that was, that was another link drop. Thank you again, Zen. Bird Garden with the $10 super chat says, an ounce of caution is better than a pound of cure. Yes, absolutely. Bird Garden, Pond Life, Rack, brother, thank you. I appreciate it. Always awesome to see you. I'm glad you're back. I'm going to throw this on for a minute because I know a lot of these super chats are expiring because I was doing my thing, but I'm trying it a little different. And if that seemed a little bit KG Tropicals 10 Things style, my apologies, but it kind of was. John's always picking on me when I talk to him because he's mean like that. I always be like, I think I'm going to do this 5 reasons for this. And he's always like, well, 10 things is better. So I listened to you, John, and we went with 10 things tonight. But Bird Garden, thank you again. I'm really enjoying what you've got going on over there. I've thrown that on many times just when I needed something to kind of relax and watch. Furloughs Aquatics with $5 super chat says, some people like the idea of a fish tank, but not all that's involved. Absolutely. Now, I will say, if you've got money, there are some awesome companies out there. Our LFS offers, setup and maintenance and all those things. You've got money to burn. That's a different story. If you can pay somebody to properly set it up, maintain it, and care for your fish, and, just looking at it kind of like if it's in a doctor's office or something, same premise, that's a different story. You've got the money to do it, so it is what it is. Why not? But Eric, Furloughs Aquatics, thank you for the $5 super chat, buddy. Really do appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing your next video, my friend.
I've got a question for you. Was one of those on there, they got the tank for somebody else because they thought they needed a pet?
No, but that is a very good one. There are a lot of good ones that you could add to that.
I think it's the worst thing anybody can do as a friend or a loved one is to buy somebody a living creature.
Yes, absolutely.
Without the person knowing, because you are giving somebody a new responsibility that they may just simply don't want in their life. Yep,
absolutely right. Kind of like giving away fish at weddings or the goldfish at the fair type of thing.
Cheapers. Yeah.
Sarah, did you change your name? I guess she changed her name. Sarah M. Snow says, Fisher Fever is so true. When you count the water bill that tripled, I have spent about $800 on my pond. Yes, absolutely. I've got 60 tanks. I run through a lot of water, not even including electric or anything else, food, any of that stuff. Just the water bill was over $200 for last month. So, things to keep in mind there that are kind of back end. And that's one that we will probably talk about. I'm looking at doing kind of a similar thing, but more like a 10 reasons or 10 things you didn't think about before you got in the hobby, where it's, we got it in for the right reasons. We love our fish, but this really sucks having a $200 water bill or a $400 electric bill or things about that. Things like that. Some awesome chat going on here. John McKenzie dropping the fertilizer with the $1 super pooper chat. Thank you very much, John. Really do appreciate that. Always love when people add a little bit of manure. Oh, we're gonna get you another one. That one didn't even come out of the little squishy thing. And that one doesn't even have a string on it. I'm gonna have to talk to him here. That one doesn't either. Oh, that's okay. We got plenty.
Throw them at the.
Yeah, we're just.
Here's a funny story about giving people animals that they don't want. Was my sister was convinced my dad needed a dog because he had a cat for years that would sit next to him while he worked in the garden. He would just sit and listen to it, and he would talk to the cat the whole time. When he'd work in the car, the cat would sit like on the engine block and while he was working on the car. The cat was always by him, and he was always talking. Well, the cat finally got old and died. So my sister bought him a dog that was so hyper, he just couldn't handle it. And he found it a home. And it was so funny because when he found it the home, the people came to visit. He was Sherman, that was the dog's name, was super calm. And they were like, oh, this is what we need is a calm dog to calm our dog down. But they only lived a couple blocks away and never brought Sherman back, so they were happy. But so then my sister bought my dad a blind old Shih Tzu because she was like, okay, I got Dad the wrong dog. And Dad said, no, I don't want dogs. No more dogs. And she still went out and got him a blind Shih Tzu. And he's out there and he's like, okay, well, you put the Shih Tzu next to him in the garden. He's working in the garden and he's going to town. And before he knew it, he heard a squeal and the dog was ran over because the dog wandered into the street. And then my dad felt horrible that he let his blind dog walk into the street and die. And he had him 2 days, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get animals for people. Gosh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, that's even if, like, if Ed was like, oh, I know James loves plecos, I'm going to get him this awesome pleco. While I personally would find a place for it, it may be one of those things. Not everybody has 24 empty tanks sitting in their storage building. You might get a fish for somebody, they want the fish, they've talked about the fish, it's going to be an awesome gift. They may not have a place to put that fish. And I don't remember the exact fish, but John, KG Tropicals, I know he's talked about having that happen. Somebody gifted him a fish that he really wanted. He didn't have a spot for it at the moment. He put it in with, I think it was some baby convicts. I know it was some other baby fish, and they just destroyed that fish before the next morning. He came in and it was dead. So yeah, that could even apply. Even if you're in the hobby, they're in the hobby, you really know each other. I would never just buy Ed a fish unless we're like together. I'm like, oh, here, Ed. Or like I have seen him in the store before. Go, oh, I like the betta. I like that betta, so I like get that betta. Because
he did do that.
Yeah, but
I actually had a home
betta. Yeah,
he knew I had a home for it too.
Yeah, he had a tank specifically for a betta. So that was one of the very rare exceptions in doing that, because he was like, I think I'm going to get that before we leave, and so I just went and got it before he could get it. That was a very rare exception on actually doing that. Where was it? Let me get this back up here. Dragonlair says, cautionary tale, if you build your own Python water changer, be sure everything is tightly connected. I had mine blow apart this morning and flooded the front of my house. 3 rooms. Shop vac helps. Yes, definitely. Sorry, I'm trying to get this off the camera without killing the camera here. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you DIY or build or hot rod, just, function test it, fit test it, make sure it's all going to work well together.
James, with that said,
yeah,
I always have room for guppies and shrimp. Yes. Okay, just wanted to say that because I appreciate that, Miss Midge Socks.
Ed's going to open up a package next week in the mail, and it's going to have 40 different strains of guppies. No, he's like, I don't know about that.
$1 per gallon sale, I can handle it.
Right. Pewfish Zone, how's it going? Loving that member badge. A lot of member badges in here. I really appreciate you all. Really, really do. The support does help. It says Fish Room Fever, can you get a lawn water line installed? It has no sewer costs. This is figured into your regular water bill. So when I talked to water company, and I'll make this very quick, my wastewater is not metered, as most people's wastewater is not. They charge me solely based upon the water coming off the meter, which is what you're getting to. The only way that I could avoid that cost is if I were to purchase a $400 meter that is for, I can't think of what it's called. Somebody will throw it in the chat. But it's pretty much like what you're talking about. It's for farmers and stuff like that. If you've got crop that you're growing, I have to purchase that $400 meter, and then I have to pay somebody that they certified as being able to do it to install that line. And that's just not in the cards at this point. So we just try and set up our tanks more naturally around here where they need less water changes. And, we work with what we got. You got to do what you got to do. Got to change the water when it needs changed. But that is a good idea, Pewfish Zone. Furloughs Aquatics, Fish Room Fever. That's why giving pets Christmas presents is one of the worst ideas. Yep, absolutely. Ed and I touched on that. Please don't. Not unless, I've seen very few examples of that being a good idea. I think it was KG Tropicals that actually did a great video about that last year around this time, I think, as the holiday season was coming up. It was kind of like a 10 things to get your, friend that's in the hobby versus buying them a fish. And I talked about, please don't just give them a live fish. Mr. Fish Sir Brad, how are you? Says Fish for Fever, that is why I like totes. They make great emergency tanks. Yes, absolutely. Always love having some Sterilite totes handy or some plastic totes. Rolling on down.
If Rack would like to have some, or is looking for some donated guppies, I can make sure that I hook him up if he needs some. I'm more than happy to help out Rack.
Same here, but I know that Rack had talked about downsizing some tanks, but Rack, you already know if there's anything I can do for you, please just let me know. Always happy to help.
Yeah, just let me know what you're looking for, buddy, because I will hook you up. Rack is part of our Tennessee Mafia.
What's in Rockford Fish Keeping says, what's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What box? What am I missing? Is there a box on camera somewhere? I don't know what box you're referencing, Rockford. Or is that the mystery unboxing video I did? I do want to say a huge shout out again and thank you to Corey and the Aquarium Co-op team for sending out some awesome boxes of stuff to myself and some other people. Appreciate that. Had some other items in there as well if you want to check out that mystery co-op unboxing video at some point. I had a fun time with that. It was kind of like opening up a Christmas present. So again, Corey, thank you very much for that, and team.
That was very nice. Very cool.
It was. It really, really was. Where is... Sorry, go ahead, buddy. Yes, the towels.
2 of these nice towels. And what I've done is I've got like a cutting board on top of my poker table, so I never mess up my poker table. But it's kind of rough. So I've been putting that down and then my elbows on that so I don't rough up my elbows on the rough wood. So it's super nice.
Real quick, I haven't been calling out all the links that Zen has been posting. Zen Ginger, thank you for that. But I do want to call this one out because we've got 115 people in here watching. Thank you for that. 82 thumbs ups. I really appreciate that. But a lot of some newer people in here may not know. If you're just kind of getting into the fish fan, the live streaming community, and you're not sure who streams when, Zen Ginger put the link up there for the Fish from Fever website. It's got the live stream schedule. It also has some links on there for some different GoFundMes for people like Kaler's Aquatics. I know Lisa at KG's talked about them as well, for the ARC. It's a not-for-profit shelter that Bob runs and manages, and some other things as well. GoFundMe on there. But it's got great options on there. You can look and go, okay, there's the week of streams. When these the times that these different people stream, and then we even have it set up to where you can just click the link next to that person, go straight to the channel, so you don't even have to go search that person on YouTube. So if you're kind of new to the YouTube community part of it and you're looking for more awesome people to watch, or trying to find a schedule, I encourage you to go check that out. And there is the shop on page too. But even if you just go look at the schedule, I appreciate it, and I'm glad to have it up there for you.
Rex said that he was looking to donate some guppies to me, and I would love that. I would put them right up next to the Sean Peck guppies.
Absolutely.
Bob, Sean, UBs are in, and I've got LRB and Prestige Aquatics. I've got Haley right here. I've got Priscilla. I've got Mod Guppy. So I'm just slowly collecting all the YouTubers' cool fish. That'd be super awesome. I'd love to add it to the collective.
S has joined the teams. The easiest name to say on all of the live chats here. Welcome, S, to Team Snowball. Thank you for joining the Fish Room Fever family. I really do appreciate that. Coming in on Snowball team, thank you very, very much for that. I hope you enjoy the behind-the-scenes content. I've got some really good stuff planned for you all. Of course, anybody, if you're not a member, we still do the regularly scheduled live streams and videos and things like that. But we keep, some behind the scenes stuff, some up and coming projects and goofy day in the life type stuff reserved for the members that are kind of more into that stuff. So S, again, welcome. Thank you for that. Probably after Ed's stream, that new video will be ready to upload, and y'all can check out about 24 tanks that I went and spent about 15 minutes filming for you all. Rolling on down through here. I don't see anything else highlighted. Real quick, though, this did catch me, all the question marks. Matrix says, any advice for someone with an in-progress fish room to start on YouTube? So my biggest advice for starting on YouTube is just do it. It may be uncomfortable at first. There's going to be some growing pains. Just go ahead and start with what you've got. Chances are you probably have a cell phone, which is going to be capable of doing video. Don't worry about trying to invest in a whole bunch of stuff to get started. Film it on your cell phone. I'll be honest, I still use my cell phones. I've got a Note 8 and an S20 Ultra, but you don't have to have a newer phone to do it. Again, this phone's been around for years. Film on your phone. You can edit on your phone, or if you've got. When I started my channel, I didn't even have a laptop because I just didn't ever need a computer for anything. So that would be my biggest advice: is don't dump a bunch of money into trying to get YouTube specific tech, start with what you've got. Just get some practice. One of the biggest things is just getting that first video out there, kind of breaking the ice. Once you get started, it gets easier, and you're going to make mistakes. You know, I trip over words. Everybody trips over words. We screw up a name. You know, we lose our train of thought sometimes. So just hang in there, keep going. You'll get adjusted to it. The other thing, what I always like to say is bring value, and that can either be education, entertainment, or hopefully a little bit of both. That's what we try and do here. You know, you bring some sort of value to the table. So don't spend a whole bunch of money. Bring some value. The people will come. I mean, I'll look at my goofy self. You know, I started doing this a year ago. Now we got 116 people in here hanging out. It's an awesome community, and we all love to talk about fish. So once again, anybody that's in the hobby wanting to start a channel, I highly encourage you to do so. Share your adventure with us. We'd love to learn what you got going on. And we're fish nerds, so we love seeing more tanks. You know, we can never get access to enough fish tanks. Where was it? Gary Habercorn with the fist bump pair. I appreciate that, Carrie. Always good to see you. I hope you were doing well. And thank you very, very much for the super sticker, that $2.99 fist bump pair. I have a mess in here tonight. I'm not complaining one bit. I love you guys. I really appreciate it. Amy said, Creek Aquatics says, you're more than welcome to gift me shrimp anytime. Amy, I will talk to you because you have a special place in my heart. I'll put it that way. With getting to know you and meet you, unfortunately, you know, through everything that happened with Nathan, I wish it had been under better circumstances, but getting to know you, you and I will talk and we'll get you set up with whatever you need, Amy. Roll on down through here. I know I missed a couple highlighted things. Still got about 18 minutes, and then we're going to go over to Chattanooga Ed's channel and talk about Corridoras.
I know that there S is answering some questions about sand and being cloudy. I've done like a whole bunch of different substrates in the fish room to see what would work the best. And I used play sand in one tank, and it is always cloudy. So now I've got Corridoras constantly circling, and it turns out that there's clay in play sand. So just don't use play sand.
And I think that was Bandawat 33. I think I found it now. It says, hey, I just set up a tank today with sand and the water is extremely cloudy. It's been 24 hours. No improvement. What can I do? So a couple of things you could do. You could throw a sponge filter in there. Now, I'm not nothing bad about Corey's filters. I love those. But when I say a sponge filter in there, you want to use one of the really fine ones to try and grab all those sand particulate. That co-op sponge is not going to grab that really fine stuff. You can get a filter sock. And what you could do is get one of the really, really fine filter socks, one that's going to get really, really small particulate out. You don't have to set up a whole fancy setup to do it. Just take your 5-gallon bucket, take that filter sock, clip it on there, and take your siphon hose. You know, you could just have a piece of hose. You don't have to have a $50 Python to do this, and just run it through there. Now, you could get into, like Ed's got some pantyhose there. Those will work depending upon exactly how you set it up. If you've got a spare pump or a power head, you could kind of power that system that I was just talking about. I've done that before where I've taken and hooked. Of course, I don't have a filter sock handy, but I've kind of hooked a filter sock inside of the frame of the aquarium inside the tank, and then just run that power head hose up into it. So it's just going right back into the tank, but that filter sock is fine enough to catch that stuff. But yeah, any other questions? I've probably missed some, but if you put @FishroomFever on there, you don't have to super chat to ask, but if you put @FishroomFever, it will highlight and I will see those things versus scrolling through and potentially missing them like I missed that one.
And S also was answering some great answers to it too, like putting a plate down, you know, putting something down to pour it.
Yep.
I like to keep large rocks, and I don't have a large rock in that tank anymore. I must have taken it out for some reason. Well, I keep big rocks in almost all my tanks, so when I'm pouring my water, I can always hit it on the rock. Yep. So I just don't make craters, but plates, that type of thing, works great too. So S was hammering it too. He was really good.
And I appreciate that, S. I really do. Yeah, and there are a lot of preventative ways that you can do. Like Ed mentioned, the plate. I use a Python hook, so I actually have some 1-inch PVC that's got double elbow to it, so it loops back up when I'm filling. That way the water is going under and then hitting the surface. In terms of prevention, several things you can do, but in terms of fixing, really you're looking at filtering. And if you used play sand like Ed mentioned versus pool filter sand, you may be in that mess for quite some time, and you may just want to cap that stuff off with some play sand, or even pull it and put play sand if you don't actually have it set up with fish and plants and stuff already. And that was a follow-up question. Bandit33 said, how do you fill a tank with sand without it getting cloudy? Yeah. So like Ed mentioned, a plate. I've got, actually, when we set up the competition tanks at the big fish deal for the aquascape thing, there are a million ways you can hack it. I actually took a water bottle, just generic toss away plastic water bottle, and I cut a whole bunch of slits in it. And then I ran the hose into that. That way it was coming out kind of dispersed everywhere versus getting that large flow. And of course, filling slowly definitely helps too.
And I just used my big old giant hand.
Yeah.
But his was a lot cleaner and nicer. But our substrate was so light in those things that James's was very nice for that.
Yeah, I had several people in the contest after I got it said, hey, can I borrow that? And I'm like, yeah, sure. That's all.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to sit around and wait, so I just used my hand.
Yeah. Dragon Lair says, Fisher Fever, did I tell you that I got a beautiful 5-inch butterfly pleco last Saturday? I don't think you did, Dragon Lair, but congratulations. Those are gorgeous. I've got one in the 55 just on the other side of this setup. Absolutely love that guy. Zen Ginger dropping the link for Ed's stream, the Nocturnal Feeding Show, feeding your late night hobby hunger, coming up in about 20 minutes, about 13 minutes now. Roll through here. Yeah, Sarah M. Snow says, be yourself too. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was asked from Carrie. She was wondering about my pineapple guppies. I got those at my local fish store about a week ago. They're super lively. They're lovely too. Honestly, I have no idea what their true name is. I don't know if I go to Aquatic Aesthetics. He had several of them left, but he just gets like generic names, and then he uses that. And guppies, I don't know if there's any Latin names actually for guppies other than a true
Basilia reticulata, I think, is the just standard.
Yeah,
but that covers all of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I don't know if they would be called pineapple pastels anywhere else, but I would just look, and I would love to find females. I luckily, though, have about 200 to 250 unhit females that I'm going to start mixing with them, so I can try to get a strand that looks pretty nice from them. And 90 or 80% of the color is coming from the boy, so hopefully I get a good girl that has some decent color from the other side.
Absolutely. Got a reminder from 44 Mad Guy Fish and More saying hit that like button. We got 125 people in here. That is a record for us. Thank you all very much. And again, thank you for Candy and Kenji Tropicals for the send over. Really appreciate that. We got 92 thumbs ups. Y'all are amazing. Really do appreciate you all. Make sure I didn't miss anything else. There we go. Mike's Aquatics and things with that $5 super sticker. Little fox painting #1 on the canvas. Mike's Aquatics. Go check him out. That's another awesome fish channel. We've had people talk about starting up a channel. You've got people that are still fairly new in here. Mike's Aquatics and things. Furloughs Aquatics. Rico Stans just started doing videos. There are countless people in here. I would say just about every person that has a member badge in here has got a channel. Just about. There are a few that don't. But Mike, thank you very much for that, brother. Really do appreciate you. Get this thing out here real quick. And then Abolished Aquatics. Good to see you, says Fisher Fever. Just started sharing my tanks this week. See, there you go. We've got another person new to the YouTube creator side, if you will. I just like to call it the Fish Fam, but that's awesome. And I will be checking that out. I try and catch everybody's stuff. I think I've got about 400 videos on my watch list because I get so many pop up during the day. I can't always watch them, but I put them on my watch later. So I do eventually get to them, but I really appreciate that. And then Bird Garden coming in again with the $10 super chat says, can we have more big glasses than Boa, please? There you go. There you go. I love it. For anybody that's new here, that's just kind of a way, things are crazy in the world right now. So if I can get a smile on some people's faces, when they drop some super chats in here, I don't mind looking goofy, and again, you talked about starting a channel. Remember, people, you're going to have haters. You're going to have people that make mean comments. Just remember, if somebody's got to come to your channel to say mean things to make themselves feel better, how bad is that person's life? So just show some empathy. Move on. Don't let them get to you. But Rack, Bird Garden, thank you once again, my friend. Bird Garden and Pond Life, both of those channels, absolutely love them. And I'm glad you're back, Rack. I really, really am. I've missed you. Rolling down through here, we've got Kimberly Bryant. Oh, wow, that jumped on me. Kimberly Bryant, welcome to the team. I appreciate you. Has become a new member. I hope you enjoy the behind-the-scenes stuff. Access to those custom emojis in the chat, as well as if you make comments. We've got some cool stuff behind the scenes for you to check out when you get a chance. I hope you enjoy it, and I really appreciate you becoming a member and a part of the team. I'm going to look at something real quick because I feel like that puts us really, really, really close. That puts us at 48 members. When I started this channel a year ago, I never thought, we hit a year last month. I never would have thought that we would even have members, let alone have 48 of you amazing people that have elected to become a part of the Fish Room Fever family and team. So thank you all very much for that. Carrie Habercorn, my nose is tickling here when these glasses are on, says, Fish Room Fever, any suggestions on cleaning a shrimp tank with sand substrate? Very, very carefully. So my shrimp tanks, they don't really get a quote-unquote cleaning. Are you trying to clean the substrate, or are you just trying to scrub the walls? So the way I do my shrimp tanks is I actually take a pre-filter sponge and I put it over my hose and I do my water changes that way. If you get a really, really small hose, then you can kind of do some target cleaning that way, and that's what I would suggest. So I have a couple tanks that I have several sand tanks, but I've got a couple that I tend to have to do some cleaning in. And anytime I have to get like mold and stuff off of that sand, because there's no room to add more sand to that tank, it would just take up too much water column. I use a really, really small diameter tube, a little bit bigger than, maybe double the size of airline tubing, but you could use that too. And then I just kind of target clean with that. And I keep my other hand ready so that I can pinch the hose off. So if I get close to a little baby shrimp or something that I don't want to suck up, I can pinch the hose, kill the suction for a second, move that away from it, and then I can let go of that and have suction again.
This tank is my full red tank. It's got a whole bunch of red guppies. You really can't see them, but it's got a whole mess of shrimp. They've just gone crazy in here. And when I was doing my water change yesterday, I had several times shrimp trying to go up the hose. And I had to pull it out so I wouldn't pull them in. So I couldn't imagine in a pure shrimp tank even trying to gravel vac, because you'd suck up so many baby shrimplets. Especially with sand.
Yeah, like I said, the only way you can really do it is get a really small diameter hose, really target vacuum in there, and be ready with your other hand that's not in the tank to kind of pinch that off. I mean, you could do it with this hand, but I find it's often a lot easier that this hand is the stop flow and this hand is the vacuuming, because maybe I do get a little shrimp in there. If I stop the flow a couple feet down the hose, I can let that thing back in. If I pinch it off here, maybe I can get it back in if I get the hose up in and it hasn't tried to shoot down the tube. But yeah, that's about the best way to do it. Carrie Habercorn, you are welcome. And of course, feel free to shoot me a message, Facebook Messenger if you want to, or an email. If you have any more in-depth questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Roll through, make sure I didn't miss anything else highlighted.
But I also use the pantyhose for not sucking up fry and shrimplets.
Yes.
Well, actually just shrimp in general. So like my shrimp tanks, I make sure I put the pantyhose on the end of the hose so I don't suck them up. But I just wasn't too worried about this one, and I didn't realize I had so many shrimp in it.
And I do want to say a massive thank you all. I can't thank you all enough. Not only did we break a record for the amount of people watching, we had 106 likes while we were live. That's the most likes we've ever gotten while live. So thank you. We've broken 2 records. I think that's also the most members that we've gotten in a single stream as well. It may be close on that one, but I know the other two were definitely records. So a huge thank you to everybody for hanging out, and John at KG for sending everybody over. I really do appreciate you all. Yeah, Zinch says use an air hose like a siphon. Yeah, absolutely.
And Dave's Aquarium says he uses a giant turkey baster.
Yep,
right?
You could do that. I don't have it now. It's over there.
For brine shrimp that I could have showed, but I didn't have it. I mean, I have it, but it's not here. But yeah, that's a really good idea too. I just don't. I mean, I'm looking at all my shrimp tanks, and I don't see anything in. It looks like just pure gravel on all the bottoms. So because they just do such a good job cleaning, I never even have to worry about cleaning the substrate. Never really thought about it.
And a hello to Melvin, and Rico Stan says nice, well deserved. Well, thank you all. I won't say that I feel that I deserve it, but I'm glad that you all are enjoying it enough. I've got 111 likes, so we just keep breaking that record, going higher and higher. Y'all are awesome. Again, we've got about 3 minutes left, probably 2 by the time you hear this. And then we're going over to Chattanooga Ed's channel. We're going to flip the topic around. It's still going to be great conversation. We're both still going to be there, but we're going to be discussing Corydoras, and that's going to be fun. Bone Collector Pro says, Fisherman Fever Java Moss is bulletproof, and mine is growing, but it's not really green and never looks like it's thriving. What can I try to change? I've got it in a 75-gallon tank, and updates soon. So for your mosses, now these are not, because people are going to say, well, you don't have to do that. I'm not saying you have to do these things, but if you're having issues, these things can definitely help. Number one is going to be try some Easy Green. Get some Easy Green in there, because I find that the tanks that mine really thrives in have a lot of available nutrients. And I use Easy Green, but I also keep a lot of mine in my Pleco breeding tanks, which of course get a lot of poop in them. And that stuff's really great at converting that nitrate and feeding off of that stuff. So without saying, hey, go set up a Pleco breeding tank to grow out your moss, I would say get some Easy Green, get some of that in there. That has definitely helped with all of my plants. Another thing that I have found, again, you can grow moss in warmer waters, but I have found that the moss typically does better a little bit cooler as opposed to warmer. Like I've got Java moss that grows in my tank that's 84. Does it thrive in there? No. It stays alive. It grows. Doesn't look great. My tanks that are usually towards the floor, maybe more towards the 74, 76, sometimes 72. And like when I've had cold water tanks, it's done really well in there. So of course you don't want to stress your fish. And there we talked about messing things up. You're going to screw up. Fifth, you don't want to stress your fish, but if you can go a little bit cooler than maybe what you're maintaining it at, give that a try. Lighting, a lot of people are going to say, well, you need better lighting, you need less lighting, you need more. I have found lighting is not nearly the issue that a lot of people make it to be on there. I can grow moss really, really well under everything from that fluval right there to the $12 LED shop lights that are lighting this tank behind me. And actually, I may have even seen better growth under just $12 shop lights that are LEDs, in all honesty.
That's what I've noticed. I've just started getting into moss because I love it. But it's so bizarre how the light works. You don't know if you want to go too bright or too light, or too dark. It's so bizarre. I haven't figured it out. I just asked this guy right here.
There we go. So we are about to head over to Ed's stream. I do want to say happy birthday to the Zen Ginger. She just pointed out her birthday's coming up in a few minutes, not too long from now. Happy birthday to you, Zen, an awesome moderator member, and has been a friend of the channel for a very long time. Make sure I get everybody here on this thank you list real quick. We won't cut into much of Ed's time this week. I know last week we did. As of today, a huge thank you to our new members, Kimberly Bryant, S, and Posiwi. I appreciate you all joining the team and becoming a part of the family. Excuse me. We're going to burn through the super chats here real quick. Got to thank all these awesome people. Again, really, really appreciate it. And we have got Mike's Aquatics and Things, Lefty3213A, Bird Garden, Furloughs Aquatics, John McKenzie, Carrie Habercorn, Mike's Aquatics and Things, again, Bird Garden yet again. I appreciate each and every one of you. The moderator team, you all do a wonderful job each and every week, and you never get enough thanks. Thank you to all of you. Everybody that participated tonight, the lurkers, the listeners, all the new people that came in, do me a favor. If you haven't subscribed already while you're here, go ahead and hit that. Click all notifications. Really appreciate that. We're trying to grow this channel. The more we grow this channel, the more people we could reach and kind of bring into the community, which gives us more knowledge, information, and more tanks to look at. So subscribe if you haven't. Everybody that's lurking and listening, and of course the replay crew. We've got an awesome replay crew. I appreciate you all. As always, my buddy Chattanooga Ed. Thank you for hanging out with us. Candy's got the link dropped for Ed's stream. We're going to head right over there. So it's a great time to kind of maybe grab a snack, grab a drink, take a restroom break, meet us on over there. Ed, any final words?
Nope. Well, I'll just see you over there.
All right. Well, until next time, keep your fish healthy. Keep yourselves healthy. Catch yourself a little fish room fever.